Hi, welcome. My name is Dan McCluskey, and on this video, I want to talk about the muzzle as a tool in terms of dealing with dogs that have hit the tipping point when it comes to aggression. And again, understand it's all about keeping it safe, okay, for dog owners, for trainers, while at the same time moving forward when it comes to real change. And again, I talk about real change. What I'm talking about is a interaction-based approach, okay, by way of how dogs perceive us in terms of dogs as pack animals, but the role of influence, okay, within a process itself. Understand that once a dog has already gained a level of control in the relationship, that's where behavioral issues start to escalate. And again, when I talk about this system, what makes it special, when I start to connect dots, I would encourage you to consider the parenting example. Okay, it lines up almost perfectly, even by way of reconciling behavioral issues. And just consider again the parent-child relationship. You know, as a child becomes more and more self-focused, more and more selfish, behavioral issues escalate right to a point of of bullying, violence, really a bad attitude. Well, when you look at dogs as social animals, okay, as they gain more and more control in the relationship, behavioral issues escalate. And again, this is where I talk about, in terms of what's popular in the dog training world, in terms of this idea that training's a learning-based exercise. I would encourage you to again, consider the parenting example. Once you're experiencing as a parent a relationship problem, do you honestly believe that you want to turn it into a learning-based exercise, okay, with pulling out things the child wants, okay? And again, understand, and when you really think about what I'm saying, this will start to make sense in terms of just looking at responses a certain way, in a very superficial way. So yes, you could have a selfish child make their bed, pick up their toys for something that they really, really want, and bring your whole focus over onto responses that way. But ask yourself the question, should you do that? And can you trust those responses that way? Well, the answer is absolutely not, especially if you're jumping in that way without you as a parent being engaged, being dialed in, interacting with, okay, all those themes I talk about in my videos, all the same themes are totally absent, okay, in the dog training world. And these trainers are jumping in the exact same way, okay, I described in terms of the parenting example. So when people wonder why it is or how it is, it's very, very common for this to happen, that things can look really, really good within the training environment as a dog is doing the sit down, come and stay, and people are marketing, okay, those responses the same way, saying, well, you can trust those responses. Well, ask yourself the question, can you really? And then going further with that, then look at what happens again, which is again very common. Go back into the real world, back into your home environment, only to discover you're still dealing with the same behavioral problems that haven't gone away. And then what's typical, what's, again, part of the kind of package deal, this idea, is for the dogs to get the blame. Say, well, there must be something wrong with the dog. Well, no, okay, there's something wrong with this process. And what's that something? It's, again, bribery, okay? I talk about bribery. When does bribery become bribery? Well, bribery becomes bribery when you fail to consider the role of influence by way of, again, what represents a process by way of experiencing a relationship problem, okay? It's no different. So again, getting back to this whole thing about, again, certain tools, okay, this is where certain tools tie in, but again, understand the good news is that now, okay, being aligned with a system of training that truly changes, okay, tools take on different meaning, and even their meaning changes by way of how you're dialed in. Okay, I talk about being proactive. That changes again. The context is tools as well. So tools, they come and they go. Okay, understand that when you're using something like a muzzle, okay, it's temporary. Okay, it's to keep things safe. It's because again, you don't want to get into a situation, because understand that you are interacting with your dog, so it is a type of power play. It needs to be. But it's a type of power play where, you want the dog to come into agreement with. So the type of interactions I'm talking about, very specific, okay? It's a type of language, okay? And it's done in such a way that, again, influence is part of the equation, but it's meant to be very leveled out, okay? It's not meant to be erratic, creating a high level of challenge, okay? The system of training is very specific. So here, the muzzle itself, again, meant to keep it safe, okay? So again, you'll see my videos using the muzzle. And again, the other issue too is, question as well, what about what type of muzzle? Well, you want it to be at least snug enough so that it prevents the bite reflex. Okay, so even in terms of expressing, right, that state of mind, okay, you want it to be snug enough so the dog can't, the mind can't go there that way. Okay, it can't be expressed that way. So not super tight, but tight enough so that, it's because it's influence coming onto the dog. But here's the thing, it's about what's reasonable. So, this is like a reasonable demand. But with a dog that's holding a lot of control in the relationship, they'll try to get that off like crazy. Okay, this is where you have to spend the time. Again, you'll see how I'm doing it, kind of nudging and, getting a dog to come to agreement saying, hey, this is a demand. This is a expectation. This is meant to keep it safe for you, okay? And so again, when you see a dog start to really become more and more accepting of the muzzle, well, that's a good sign, okay? But again, always keep in mind that, the thing that makes this different is that this will come off. You watch some of my videos, you'll see at the point where I'm on like day 12 of a board and train process, and now this is coming off because, again, the dog's perceptions are changing the right way. The dog's coming into agreement. I'm fading into the relationship. So understand a muzzle is a very important tool. It's meant to keep it safe, but again, through this system, it's about change at the same time. Thanks for watching.